welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland. I'm Gimli, and tonight I'll be joined by... First up, he's our producer and full-time cheddar-eating Lothario. It's Danny the GFP. Hello, Dan.
Ahoy, hoy, shipmates.
Nice to be back.
To be back, it is nice.
Lovely.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Indeed.
Next up, making his long overdue return, it's Diamond Geezer himself, Mr. Geoff Arsenal. You right, Geoff?
Yeah, fantastic. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all right. You well, Gim?
Yeah, I'm not. Brilliant,
have you missed me at all?
Oh, of course we have.
I didn't even know you'd gone.
No, I'm always gone, mate.
The World Cup podcast were hollow and lifeless without you.
I don't know about that. Very good.
Right, next up, podcast panellist and BSM's finest, it's Raj Patel. Hello, Raj.
Evening all, how are you?
Not too bad at all. Lovely summer?
I've had a great summer. I've had no ITKs following me around at all this summer, so it's been very nice and quiet. And, just been getting a tan.
Hashtag ITK killer. Next up, it's our silky-voiced assassin, FK. Hello, FK.
Hello, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. And how's summer been treating you so far?
Oh, mate, the summer's been epic. Signings, the World Cup, and obviously the season starts Sunday for me, so really looking forward to it. Good to be back.
Definitely. We'll start this podcast then by looking back to Saturday and Sunday in the Emirates Cup. Geoff, I'll start with you if I may, and I'll ask, what have we learnt about Arsenal from the games against Benfica and Monaco?
I don't think you're going to learn anything in pre-season matches, to be honest with you. It's all about fitness, isn't it? Getting your fitness up and getting the boys out there with a ball, because I think previously it was in Austria, just running. So it was. I mean, it's good to see the fans get a chance to see the new signings, but you're not really going to learn a great deal. The first game was fantastic. We did very well. We beat Benfica, obviously. The second game was a little bit disappointing because we got beat, but we should not have got beat, really, should we? But like I said, you don't really learn too much. But good to see the new signings and see how they're getting on, you know.
And FK, one of the main talking points has got to be so no goals, 4 goals. What did you make of that?
Well, look, it was always encouraging to see him score his first goals for the club, albeit a friendly, and of course he went on to get 4, which was completely unexpected. But like Geoff says, you can't look into these friendlies too much. The reason we play them is to get our players fit, to improve their strength and conditioning and all that kind of stuff. And I'm pleased for the boy. I don't think he'll start too many games this year, but anything that boosts his confidence, good enough for me. And it was good to see him play alongside Joel Campbell as well. It looks really exciting, but I'm sure we'll talk about it later.
And I think we should also touch on Callum Chambers, who has been touted as a bit of a gamble. Did Arsene Wenger say that? Am I right in saying that?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think he said he was a bit of a gamble when he signed him.
He had a wry grin as he said it.
I don't think it's a gamble. I think Wenger's been very clever, and I think he's going to be an excellent play for us. Definitely
one for the future then, Raj?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we don't normally go out and spend £60 million on a kid unless there's some potential, and we've got history to show that we've been proved right. So, yeah, I'm very positive about that. I'm very happy with that purchase.
And Danny, another positive debutant for the club would have been Joel Campbell. I mean, how did you see him over the 2 days?
I only watched the highlights of the first game because I was asleep for both games. I completely forgot they were on.
Lazy.
Plus I'm having a bit of a silent protest at BT wanting to put their prices up, and Sky Sports putting their prices up. So I've decided they can both do one, and I've been and bought myself an Android box, and I should have watched it on those. But I watched the highlights on Arsenal TV of the 5-1, was it? Yeah. Yeah, it was. And I thought Campbell got an assist for the second goal, and he scored 1 goal himself. And I think the first goal that he scored, Bellerin was over on the right-hand side, and then he did a bit of a zigzag, crossed it over to Campbell, and the volley he did was the kind of thing you expect from a player who's been playing up front the whole of his life, and he's in his prime of his career, not someone who's just barely out of nappies. And I thought the composure he took to do that, and then straight after that he squared the ball brilliantly to Sanogo for Sanogo to get his second goal, and I thought that also shows a touch of class and shows that he's not just a young player who's all about himself. He had the vision to set up a teammate and score a goal, and I thought in that game against Benfica he was absolutely brilliant, much like he was from the World Cup, and I'm really glad that he's taken his World Cup form and brought it over to Arsenal and showing it there. It's something I'm really, really looking forward to.
Definitely. I think he's... it is, and I mean, to coin a phrase, and I'm going to get shot for this, he is like a new signing. Is he not?
How old is he?
He's 21 or something
20,
like that, isn't he?
20.
Yeah, he's definitely young, Raj, sort of 2021, I would think.
I see. Again, Arsene Wenger's been very cunning there. I think he's setting himself up for a decent season as well. So I'm uncommonly positive about things at the moment. So you'll get bored with.
He's 22.
Well, I think what's telling, Raj, is that from
22 years old. See,
he's just 22 last week.
From last season, where we had literally just Giroud because Walcott was injured and Podolski was, a rare starter. I think now we've got hopefully a fit Walcott, a Sanchez, a Campbell, obviously a Giroud who needs to get fit himself because he was appalling on Sunday. I think you're all of a sudden you've got enough attacking options that is going to create goals and chances, and you've got depth. So I'm really excited. I think I just echo exactly everything you said.
Are you saying that we're not going to buy one then? We're not going to buy a striker? That's what we're saying.
Well, I put it this way: if Shad Forsyth comes in and works wonders with our players and he keeps them fit, if we've got Walcott and he keeps Campbell, and he's obviously got Sanchez, Giroud and Podolski, I can't see him buying a centre forward. I really think Giroud is going to spearhead the attack, and I think he'll have the likes of Sanchez, Walcott, Ox, etc. sort of off him as outlets. So I can't see it. I think if we're going to add anyone, it will probably be a midfielder, but Geoff will probably fill us in on that later.
I think Campbell's definitely worth a shot. He's one of them types of players that we did miss last season. Some of them games that we just didn't have anybody to change the game, and he's so offensive. I like it when he just gets the ball and he goes straight for the fullback, and he's good that, and he's got enough pace to get him. And he's tricky. He's a tricky player. It ain't all about pace. He's tricky. He can get round the player. So he's got to be worth a shot, hasn't he? And like you said, he took a fantastic goal at the weekend. I don't see any reason why I don't keep him.
He's a strong boy as well, Gim. I saw him in training today at Members Day, and players are almost bouncing off him. He looks a small guy, but there's a lot to him. And just quickly, while we're talking about Campbell, if I may, Gim, I think the club had two kind of concerns about him, Geoff, and that was his attitude off the pitch, not necessarily towards training or anything. It was just off the pitch. He's a young boy away from his family in London, not quite sure what you're going to get with him. And the second thing was his work rate, and actually, having seen him today at Members Day and having seen him, albeit it was only a training session, and having seen him at the Emirates Cup, which albeit was only a friendly tournament, he was tracking back. He did it really well for Costa Rica. I understand he had talks with Wenger before he went to the World Cup about being given a chance. And so far, you've got to credit the boy. He's given it his best. And like you, Geoff, I think you're absolutely right. Wenger's really got to give him a go now. He's been loaned out 3 seasons in a row. Let's see if he can cut his cloth at Arsenal, and he's still got time on his hands.
Yeah, you're right. You're right what you're saying. There was thoughts that there was problems with his attitude off the pitch, in how he keeps himself and how he looks after himself, etc. There's no doubt about it. He's got some great talent on the pitch. It's just whether or not we can keep him focused enough. But the thing is, he's now at a big club. It looks like he's going to have a chance at a proper big club. We're a European superpower. There's no doubt about it now, and hopefully he'll see sense and take it really seriously, knuckle down, keep his head down, live the right way, and he's got a right chance, because these chances playing for Arsenal, they're not going to come across every 5 minutes, believe me. He's got a right chance of getting into a proper team, hasn't he,
Definitely. I feel another player that we should talk about who came out of the game on Saturday with, immense plaudits would be Hector Bellerin, who took his chance wonderfully and was a star performer. Geoff, what did you make of his game?
I think he did fantastically, honestly. I really did. I was surprised. I mean, there's no problem. He's got great fitness. He was up and down. He's tenacious. His positioning was really, really good. I see he's got a bright future, the lad. I'm not sure that they're going to keep him this season. I'm really not sure. we'll have to see, won't we? But at the end of the day, I think there's definitely there should be a future for him at Arsenal Football Club. He's very, very young. He's still very raw. He's got a lot of learning to do. But no doubt, with a good bit of coaching, he's definitely one for the future.
And FK, what did you make of him?
Yeah, I like what I saw, but 90 minutes of football. People have written Jenkinson off for just a couple of bad games here and there, and he's not really kind of like hit the heights. But there were games last season where he was really good. Bayern Munich away as an example, and I think he's got a lot to learn, Bellerin. I think what we've seen is quite encouraging, but he seems to have got faith and backing from the manager. He's technically very good. They've been raving about him for some time as one of the most sort of promising up and coming youngsters. We'll have to see how he gets on. I'll be happy for him to get some League Cup games, maybe a few cameo appearances here and there. But Debussy probably got that spot tied down, and obviously he's got Chambers, who's quite versatile and might have to cover right back every now and again. But I'm all excited to see youngsters come through, but I don't want to get carried away.
And I feel we should definitely talk about the main man himself, Alexis Sanchez, or Alexis, as he would prefer to be called. Raj, what did you make of him?
I mean, he didn't do huge amounts on Saturday, and he had about 70 minutes on Sunday. But we all know he's a world-class player, and he was more on show than anything else, just to keep the fans happy. But there's loads more to come. I mean, I don't really put much weight on these friendlies, so it was just interesting to see how the players played and stuff like that. But Sanchez, he's a world-class signing. I was very excited when we bought him, and we're going to see loads from him this season.
And another player I think we should talk about as well is Ospina. Of course, we didn't see him on either day because he had an injury, didn't he, Geoff?
Yeah, what was it? A thigh injury or something, wasn't it? Well, I mean, that he'll come back. He'll regain fitness, won't he, for the start of the season, hopefully. And I don't think he's going to be the first choice, but it's good to have a good backup like that. I mean, to be honest with you, I've only ever seen him at the World Cup. I hadn't noticed him before, but he looked fantastic. A great shot stopper, good positioning, and very, very confident. And that's what you need as a goalkeeper. You need confidence, and he was coming out and just collecting the ball very, very good. So it'd be interesting to see how he pushes Chesney this year.
And I feel another player that I think is still under a certain amount of debate is Arteta. I've seen a lot of people say that he looked very slow on the Sunday. I mean, there's two questions on this one. Do we need to bring in a defensive midfielder? And Arteta, what kind of role do we see him playing in the future at Arsenal, FK?
Look, I've been a big fan of Arteta, and actually he joined the club at a time we needed someone of his calibre to come in and just basically, steady the ship, and he's done a brilliant job. I think last season we saw maybe cracks in his game because of his age and his physical condition, and I think he's 33, he's not going to get any quicker. We appreciate that. He's, for me, I'm not going to judge him over the weekend, but I would say over the last sort of 12 months, he's not as quick as he used to be, and maybe in the bigger games, if the brutal truth is that you need better players. With regards to a midfielder, absolutely would support getting an additional one in, primarily because we know that given our track record with injuries, it's likely to happen again, even though we've appointed Shad Forsyth. Last season, a random statistic for you, Ramsey, Wilshere, Ox, Walcott and Ozil all were fit together only just on 2 occasions. And we have to rely on Flamini and Arteta as a double pivot in many games. And I don't want to go into a situation like that, especially knowing that how the other clubs have kind of strengthened. So for me, I think Arteta this year at best will be a squad player. I can't see him starting too many games, especially if we go out and get a midfielder. And in terms of a holding midfielder, I mean, I must be one of very few fans that maybe think it's not so much about a holding midfielder. We need the numbers. I think it's a system. You can't go to Chelsea City and Anfield and be as open and suicidal almost as we were. You need to tighten up, and that's a team thing. It's not just a one-man job. So I'd love to see someone come in. Who? I don't know.
And Geoff, what did you make of it?
Arteta, I think I shared every sentiment that FK was saying about Arteta. I think he's been superb for Arsenal. It's not really his fault that he's 33 now. Like you said, he was never the quickest player in the world anyway, and he was based as an attacking midfield player when he was at Everton. Great craft, great passing ability, but in those games that FK mentioned last season, it was like he was treading water when he's running back, and it's very difficult the way we play. He needs to join in when we're over the halfway line as well, and that's where the problem lies, where he's got to get back if it breaks down quickly. I think a defensive midfield player is definitely on the cards, one of three that I think they're looking at the moment. We'll have to see how we go with it, won't we? I'm 100% sure they'll sign somebody.
And Raj, there's been a certain amount of talk saying that Arteta might go into a coaching role with the club. Do you see any truth in that, and would you agree with that?
I've not heard anything, but if he's good enough, then yeah, why not? We need ex-players in the coaching staff anyway, so I'll definitely give him a go. But in terms of what the other two guys have said, I'd agree with them. He's getting a bit heavy in his legs, and yeah, he'll play a role next season on and off. But I kind of disagree with FK a little bit. I think we do need a defensive holding midfielder, and hopefully we'll get Carvalho, because that'll prove a big point from about April of this year.
Could Geoff either confirm or not confirm?
It's tricky, isn't it? Like I said, one of three. They're in a situation where they want the first one, but the other two are in the waiting room. If you get what I mean, we just hope that we can get the first one. If we don't get the first one, the other two are still available, because they might get stolen from someone else, So listen, I've got 100% faith in Arsene Wenger. So we'll start the season in good shape. I promise you that.
Well, I read in the Mirror this week that Monreal and Arteta have both been lined up to go to Athletic Bilbao in Spain, along with a Vermaelen move, and between those lot, that could free up 20 million. But today, when FK was talking to Jeremy Wilson, he said a little bit about the club. Did he say the club had promised they weren't going to sell Schneidlin, FK?
Yeah, Southampton are basically, they're trying to hold tight. But listen, Danny, we know every player has their price.
Money
this
talks.
is why Wenger said in his press conference over the weekend that he's going to wait to the last 2 weeks. And also, let's just remember, look, a year ago, whenever it was, we signed Flamini. We were happy with that. We wanted the likes of Fellaini to come in. We're now discussing whether Arsenal are better off signing the likes of Carvalho, Khedira, Schneidlin, or even, someone left field like Pogba. Look, at the end of the day, any of these players, whoever of the above comes in, we will fly next season, but we just need to make sure we get the deal done.
So would you lots be happy if Arteta and Monreal went back to Spain, and then we probably get about 10-15 million for the pair if we're lucky, and then invest that money in the defensive midfielder, or would you rather them both stay? Anyone, Gim?
Well,
No, I think it depends how the money's invested and what it's invested in. I think, if players are bought in of the Arsenal calibre, should I say, or what we've been going for at the moment, then I would have no problems. If it makes the club stronger, then I don't think there's any place for sentiment in football. Like I said, I think if it makes the team stronger, then I'd be all for it.
Were you going to say something like that, Geoff?
I think they'll both still be at the club. For this forthcoming season, a lot of people give Monreal stick. I don't really see it. I don't really see why. What you got to remember is the trouble that Monreal's had when he's played. He's had no one support him as a left back. And when you see it the other day, that the Monaco game, he was getting run all over, but that was down to the right back. That wasn't down to his winger. He's a really, really good player on the ball. He's got great technical ability, right? A lot of these people that's giving him stick, they was most of the same guys that was digging out Per and Koscielny in their first season and a half. Because they weren't really cutting it either. Give him a chance, that Monreal. He's a good left back, and he's definitely a great squad player if we can keep Gibbo fit anyway.
Did you not think he's a little bit too good to be as like the Spain number 2 left back? Too good to be our reserve left back, and a lot of money we're spending on those two players in wages that we could be spending on players that can fight for a first team place.
No, you need squad players like that. When I say squad player, he's still going to get his 20 games a season anyway, because of the amount of games that we play. But you need quality, if Gibbo gets injured or when he needs a rest, right? But to be honest with you, I honestly do believe that Monreal could really have a go at being first choice left back. That's how much I rate him.
Ooh, that's brave.
Oh, I'm only being honest with you.
He's
That's
a good
how I see
player.
it.
There's no denying he's a good player. Just that I am always of the school that believe that you have your first best player in every position, and then you have a younger player coming up through the ranks, which we've always done at left back, or even back from the days when we had Kenny Sampson as the main left back. We'd always have a young player coming through the ranks that would be our backup left back, not have two world class, two top class Premier League standard left backs. I think it's a waste.
No, I think you've got to nowadays, Danny. I think you've got
I
to have
with Gibbs and his history of injuries, you've got a point there.
You've got to have 25 top quality players if you're going to compete for them 3 trophies for sure.
What are you going to say, FK?
No, it's a bold claim by Geoff. I mean, I understand why he's saying it, but for me, Monreal is a 7 out of 10 defender. What I mean by that is he will, if he was given a run of games in the team, he's not a spectacular player, but he'd do you a job every week. For me, at the moment, I think Kieran Gibbs is a much better player. He's not great going forward, but he's so athletic. He's got a great engine on him. And I think the only thing that's preventing Kieran Gibbs from becoming a top world-class left-back is literally injury problems. And I'm really happy also that he's been given the number 3 shirt. It suits him. He's natural. And, I don't think Monreal is going to get ahead of Gibbs.
You can finally go down to the proper number 3, can't he? Which is the first thing when I play football management games. I change all the squad numbers round to the proper numbers. Right back is 2, left back is 3, centre backs are 5 and 6.
You're old school, Danny.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I do. I am.
I'll bring it down a notch, and I think this is a question that needs to be asked. Again, after the game on Sunday, there was a lot of people, as our fans seem to do when we lose a game, and let's not forget this was only a friendly tournament, but a lot of fans actually said it was embarrassing that we didn't win the Emirates Cup. Who wants to take the question on this?
It's not embarrassing. Sorry, Gim. It's not embarrassing that we didn't win the Emirates Cup. It's a day out for a lot of fans who probably can't come during the season and stuff like that. And it's 2 games. You're not expecting too much out of the team. And we've won it a couple of times, I know, in the past. But there's no great shame in not winning it just because it's our home tournament. I mean, I think some of our fans do get carried away. Yeah, we lost against Monaco, but we just move on. I'll start paying attention from this Sunday.
And it might pay half of Sanchez's wages over the 2 days, for the whole season. So why not?
I think, Jim, on that, with the Emirates Cup, you're almost damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you win the Cup, Arsenal have gone and won their own Cup, they set their own rules up. If you don't win the Cup, Arsenal couldn't win their own Cup. It's just one of those things. And like Raj said, he's absolutely spot on. Day out for the family. For me, I think the season starts Sunday, even though the Community Shield is not a valuable trophy, let's say, but I think the psychological benefit of winning the trophy is far greater than the psychological impact of not winning the trophy. So for that reason, I'd love to see Arsenal go on and beat City, and it's at that momentum you build on the FA Cup. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I mean, it would have been nice to win the Emirates Cup, but it's definitely not the end of the world. I mean, it's pre-season, for God's sake, so we need to chill out.
So I'll tell you what's really positive about it. The 60,000 sell out for the 2 games in 2 days. I mean, it's incredible, the Arsenal support. It's unbelievable. The 25 quid the tickets, something like that, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah.
But, it's great. It gives everyone a chance to get into the stadium. It's a fantastic stadium, centre of London, sunshine. I mean, why not? It's good to see it. Why
Listen,
not?
Geoff, £22 to go to Boreham Wood and stand up, or £25 to go to the Emirates and see Falcao,
and all that. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It is exactly like Rod says, family day out, and it's brilliant.
People talk about the Charity Shield, and the first thing that comes to my mind is that image in my mind of just after we did the double in '98, you had Nutty, Dixon, Keown and Adams all kneeling there with the FA Cup, the Premier League trophy and the Charity Shield in the middle, and that photo for me sums up what the Charity Shield is. It fits perfectly with the FA Cup or the Premier League, and it just looks nice on our club's CV to have it there, and I think it's still important. Don't call it the Community Shield because it's not, it's the Charity Shield. Don't go messing with my history. And I hope we win it, and I hope we smash them. But I've been asked by Arsenal to officially organise next year's Emirates Cups. It's going to be Enfield, Barnet and Leyton Orient we'll be playing. So we've got a good chance of winning it.
You'll get a game, Dan.
Well, Actually, I'm going in goal, but that was meant to be a secret.
But Danny, what do you make of our fans being overly negative about the Emirates Cup? Do you think there's any foundation in which to base the negativity, or do you think, it's just our fans getting their knickers in a twist like they always do over something that's, not really that important? It's not life or death.
It's the wonders of Twatter, isn't it? That's what you should rename it, Twatter, because no matter what, Arsenal fans are never more happy when we're in fighting and having a go at each other. We've made one of the second biggest signing of the 21st century, probably. What does that count since 2000? Yeah, it's got to be one of the biggest of the last decade. One of the biggest signings, financial-wise, wages-wise, and class-wise in Sanchez. He's still only 25. And in most seasons you'd have gone, we've signed a player like that. No one's ever going to argue with anybody about anything ever again. We've spent £62.5 million on those players. We've got rid of a load of rubbish players that are just taking up space and costing us wages. And everyone should be happy, but they're not. It's just like the human race, as in general. We're just like a snapshot of the human race, where we're never happy unless we're unhappy.
You know what's really interesting, Danny? Like today at Members' Day, people were talking about possible players that we could afford to lose. And the names that are being mentioned are Monreal. You're talking about a Spanish international. You're talking about Podolski, 100-plus caps for Germany. You're talking about, obviously exclude youngsters, but, Cazorla, someone who's come in, won the FA Cup, World Cup winner with Spain. I mean, this is Arsenal now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know we've just let Bentner go and we've had the Jovinios and the players in the past, but Wenger's slowly got to this stage now where almost every player in the squad has a role, and justifiably so. So, exciting times. There's no point in moaning.
And we might even have some more money coming in, because I've just read that, very bad news from us Peterborough supporters, that Britt Asamoah Bonga was just signed for Forest for $5 million. But Forest are actually selling Henry Lansbury to Burnley because they've agreed a fee of $3.5 million, and I bet we've got a sell on from that, haven't we? Did we sell him to Forest? We did, didn't we?
We did.
Oh, he was on Norwich on loan between, so I reckon we've got another 20-25% of that coming back as well.
It's all positive. I'll move this discussion on then, and we're going to discuss a little bit about potential transfers and how the players we've been bought in over the summer may possibly fit into the team. I'm going to start with you, FK, and start by asking, what did the Alexis Sanchez signing mean to you?
Oh, brilliant signing. Massive signing for Arsenal Football Club. I'm delighted to kind of sit here and say that I think gone are the days of us finding high reputation players who are maybe out of form with their clubs, like, when we bought Bergkamp and Henry, and none of these players are really at the top of their game, and now we're beginning to buy established players that are coming almost to the peak. And when you look at Sanchez, I don't quite know if he's world class, because by definition for me, world class is a player who could walk into any team in the world and not kind of worry about it. But what he does bring is pace, power, great technical ability, versatility, left, right, plays up top, unpredictability almost, because we can now almost play him anywhere along that front three. He can play off Giroud, running behind, and he's electric fast. And what I'm really looking forward to, Gim, is, you know the scenario well. You've got Ozil and Ramsey on the ball in the middle. You've got Ox, Walcott, Sanchez all flying at the opposition at pace. We're just going to become so unpredictable, but so exciting to watch. So, great signing, great statement. I think it keeps players like Ozil happy. I think, who doesn't want to play with Sanchez? And, even seeing him today at Members' Day, that there's an aura about him. He's a tiny, tiny guy. But as he walked in with his flip-flops and his shorts and his shirt, you could see that even the likes of Ramsey, who's obviously now a cup winner and established at Arsenal, you can see the relationship. They almost look up to him because he's that much of an inspiration. So he can only be a great signing. I really hope he hits the ground running. Wenger is the best man to nurture him further. And we've got him, at the age of 25, best years ahead of him. And for 35 million euros or whatever it was, I mean, in today's game, when you see the likes of David Luiz going for 50 million or Torres being bought for 50 million years ago, it's Arsene Wenger at his best. And I'm really excited. So to try and answer your question in a really long-winded way, Gim, I'm really, really happy. And I think he'll be incredible for the Premier League.
Oh no, you carry on. I was just sat there listening with an immense sense of pride then. I think everyone should really get a go at this question. So I'm going to go to you, Raj, next. What did the Alexis Sanchez signing mean to you?
There was a bit of a stirring in my groin when we first signed him. I thought it was just brilliant. It's just been a great summer. We've bought early. They've had time to plan, which is great. We have done that for a while. But with Sanchez, I've got a feeling that he will explode onto the Premier League scene straight away. Maybe a bigger impact than Ozil. I'm not saying that Ozil won't have a great season this year. I'm sure he will do. But I've just got a feeling that he's just going to impress from the off, and I don't think he'll be a failure in any way, shape, or form. I'm very, very excited.
Right, as we all are. Geoff, same question?
Well, I mean, if you ever think about last season, the one thing that we all wanted last season, and I don't think anyone can argue, even the Liverpool fans and the United fans and ever, if we would have had a striker last season that had pace and was a natural goal scorer, we would have walked that league, no doubt about it. And what we're getting with Alexis, we're getting that striker. He can play all, like FK said, he can play all across the front three. He's got plenty of pace, and he is a natural goal scorer. He can finish everything. So you put all them ingredients in, you put him into an Arsenal team with the Ozils. I mean, I can just see it happening now. I honestly do think he'll play him up top most of the time. That'll be his main position, and I do think he'll turn him into someone like Sergio Aguero. I really, really do, because I think he's got that low centre of gravity. He's quick on the turn. He's got fantastic feet. He can dribble, and he's got a great shot on him.
Are you suggesting, Geoff, then a change in formation to play two up top, or do you think Giroud is going to become number two?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Honestly, I think some of the more combative games, like the Stokes, and he might start with Giroud. But I think they might get an even amount of games, because there's still, like I said, there's plenty of games coming up. And Giroud will come on off the bench or whatever. But I think he's going to have to work it. We're going to have to be guarded, because we don't really know what he's going to be like in the Premier League. It's very difficult. It's all well and good saying, yeah, he's a fantastic player. He's been a fantastic player in Italy and in Spain, but the Premier League is a different animal. It's really, really fast. He's going to get kicked from, pardon my French, arsehole to breakfast time, they used to say. So we're going to have to be a little bit guarded about it. Let him see what happens. Hopefully he hits the ground running, and he gets a couple of goals early doors, and he can gain confidence from that. But if not, just be patient with him.
Well, I think the one thing sitting here, listening, when we started this podcast a year ago, to think that a year down the line we would be sat here talking about Mesut Ozil in the team, Alexis Sanchez in the team, Ramsey being, just as epic as he was last season. I think, we're spoilt for so much choice. I really don't see how any of our fans can moan. But back to Alexis Sanchez, Danny, it's a magnificent signing at that price as well.
It is. It's amazing. I'm just looking at the Henry Lansbury thing. We've agreed anything over £1 million, we get 50%. So there you go, Wenger. There's another £1.25 million in your pocket. Go and buy yourself a nice hat. I vaguely remember, because I'm a bit of a fan of like our very own Chris Carpenter out. I remember him vaguely Udinese in Italy, because I remember the one season he was there. I'm just looking at him. He was there for 3 seasons, but I remember his last season there, 10-11, where he played 31 Serie A games, 12 goals, 10 assists. And I think then he was played more out wide a lot of the time, but it's still, I remember thinking then, that's one hell of a player, and he must have been, so he's 25, 24, 23, he's about 21, 22 back then, thinking that's going to be someone who's going to end up at Real Madrid or Barcelona, who's going to cost an absolute fortune and go on and run the world. But like you were just saying, that we've got Real Madrid's 8, Barcelona's 9, and the figures for Sanchez at Barcelona, I look at these, and every time I look at them, I'm still amazed. Last season, 54 games, 21 goals, 15 assists. That's the kind of stuff that you would expect from just a central midfielder of world class. Even Cesc weren't getting that for us when he was at his, sorry, FK, have a little moment, but he was at his very best when he was with us. And his entire time at Barcelona, 141 games, 47 goals. That's 1 goal every 3 games. That's all competitions, and 34 assists. Now you got him and you got Ozil, and then last season Ozil was taking 2 defenders at times. So when he played, he wasn't doing much all the time unless you really, really watched him. people were complaining he wasn't doing much all the time because he had 2 players on him. What are they going to do if we've got Sanchez and Ozil playing in the same team? They're going to have half their team marking each of those 2, and we could bring back Benter and he'll get 50 goals a season because there's going to be no one defending because they're going to be so worried about those 2. I can't wait to see those 2 on form with Ramsey in midfield, with Giroud up front banging him in, with Sanogo standing there. It's standing like in the Emirates Cup. It was like, you know, when you play crazy golf and you've got to bang it off the windmill and get it in. That's what it's like watching Sanogo. Just kick the ball at him and then it'll end up going in. Because most of the time he was either falling over, tripping over or sliding, and he was putting the balls. He couldn't not score. So there's just so much to look forward to this season. It's a shame I'm not going to be watching any of it in HD.
The thing is with Sanchez, you not only got someone like FK said who's lightning quick, you've got someone who has got just an immense amount of technical ability. I must admit that when we signed him, and I committed the cardinal sin, which is to go on YouTube and have a look at the highlights reel of a player, which of course we all know you could make a highlights reel of Manuel Muñoz and it make him look like fucking Iker Casillas.
Legend right? He was.
But one of the first goals that was on it was he playing in an El Clasico or Copa del Rey against Real Madrid, and he was literally 1-on-1, and he literally turned and he chipped it over the goalkeeper and in the corner of the net, and I just thought, do you know what? I think I'll explode if I ever saw him do that to Arsenal. I just think there would just be a massive skin and blood everywhere.
There would be a massive vacuum at the Emirates. Everyone all breathed in at once. All their ears would pop.
The Emirates would just explode, wouldn't it? That's just, amazing.
It's going to be, I think we need to know where he's going to play, though, because people have been saying he's going to play as a striker, he's going to play off the striker in the Ozil role. I personally think he's going to be playing mainly down both wings. I think he'll start off maybe on the right-hand side. I know he can play absolutely any position he wants, but I think he'll be covering a little bit on the right, he'll be covering a little bit on the left, which might be the only downfall of him at first, is finding where he fits best into our team, because our starting 11 of having Giroud up front, Ozil behind him, having Theo on one wing and Podolski on the other wing. That's a team most teams would dream of. And now we've got all these other ones like the Ox and him to come in. So it's just it'd be interesting to see who's going to settle down into what position, or will he be covering all of them, because he's more than capable.
Has anybody else got anything to say regarding Alexei?
I think we've said enough.
Yes. With that, then, the next question will be about Debuchy. With Debuchy ahead of Sagna in the national team, have we upgraded in that position, FK?
Ooh, I don't know if we've upgraded. I mean, he's obviously a good right back. I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's better than Sagna defensively. I understand that Deschamps picked him because he's better going forward. He has a better end product. Now, for me, I think our game, Sagna has really come on in the last 2-3 years, and he's a brilliant right back. I can't sit here and lie and say, yeah, Debuchy's better, but for me, a right back, he's going to come in, he's going to do a job. I'm surprised that Wenger paid so much money for a 29-year-old. Maybe it's a sign of the times, and maybe it's a sign that Wenger wants success now, but I think he'll do a good job for us. I'm not too fussed, and hopefully he'll just hit the ground running, and it won't be a problem for us. So, a good defender.
And Raj, what's your view on Debuchy?
None, to be honest. You know me. I haven't seen him play yet. So, I've seen him play for Newcastle, and he looks good. But I'll reserve judgment until I see him play. Really, I don't really need to see him play properly. But I think he's a decent enough replacement for Sagna.
And one of the things you must say about him is he's Premier League ready. Geoff, that must have come in as a massive bonus when signing him, mustn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a continuation, to be honest with you. He's a player that, like you say, is Premier League ready. He can slip straight in. He knows what it's all about. He's got a great experience, international level. Wenger has liked him for a while now, anyway. He's a younger man, obviously. I think he's better offensively, not as good defensively. I'm going to miss Sagna. I mean, his heading ability was incredible, wasn't it? But at the end of the day, I think it's just a continuation. I don't think you'll see a lot of difference. What we was missing last year sometimes was someone to get down that right hand side and whip a nice ball in. Sagna, 9 times out of 10, he wouldn't get it over the first man, would he? So I'm hoping that he can do a little bit better.
Can you clear up the Sanya situation, Geoff? Because there's a lot of people still unclear about, why he left. They offered him a contract. Did he leave for a new challenge? Did he leave for more money? Because there's a lot of people saying that he won't take Zabaletta's place in that team. So it seems a little bit of a funny move.
Well, I just think it's money. It can only be money. He's coming to that stage in his career. I'm not sure what I've offered him. People saying it's £180,000 or £200,000 a week, some madness. Arsenal can't compete and give a 33-year-old player that kind of money. I think it's just totally against what Arsene Wenger does. Like you say, I don't think he's going to get in front of Zabaleta. I think he's still got another year or two left in him, and we can't afford to give that kind of money. Not when we can replace for a better, younger model, maybe in Debuchy.
And Danny, let's have your thoughts on Debuchy as well, please.
After we've finished, I think FK's got a little story about Debuchy, but my views on him are that you're not going to hear, for everyone on the podcast, you're not going to hear me screaming, Sagna, what the bloody hell is Sagna doing? He's jogging back from the halfway line. You're going to see Debuchy doing a Lee Dixon. You're going to see him being back there when he needs it, looking to his left, going, everybody got their arms up, 3, 2, 1, offside, there you go. Not jogging back, going, over gets there and I can be bothered. I'm going to go and cross the ball and kill someone in Rose Ed. Sagna couldn't cross. I mean, he had nice heading ability. That's only because he liked the replays of himself with his dreadlocks floating in the air. Were they dreadlocks? Well, they're not cornrows, are they? What were they? I don't know. I'm not a hairstyle. I don't even have hair.
Spring rolls?
Yeah, I've got no idea. I don't know. Hair's wrong to me, apart from the hair on my legs, but that's just for the ladies.
And your chitty chin chin.
Well, that's full beard at the moment. I've gone full Grizzly Adams. I'm out at a party at the weekend. Watch out, ladies.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
I'll be chucking some moves, more like moves than you can count, and they'll all be on YouTube, no doubt. Oh, God, I've gone off again, haven't I? Oh, Debuchy. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing someone who will do a defender's job. In 1.5 seasons with Newcastle, I think he played every single game almost. He scored 1 goal and he only passed the halfway line once, and I think that's maybe probably when he scored that goal. That's it. So I want someone who's going to defend. When you've got the likes of Theo, I'm a genius Walcott, running down that right wing, scaring the life out of people with his pace and his ability, you don't need the right back to be following him just in case he messes up. No, you're a right back, stay at right back. Let Theo, let Ox, let Ozil, let whoever is playing on that right wing do that job, and you stay back and defend, and that's what I'm looking forward to. FK, what was your little ditty about Mr.
Yeah,
Debuchy?
just a quick funny, or something that made me chuckle on Sunday. I was lucky enough to have access to the mix zone by the Players' Lounge on Sunday after the Emirates Cup, and we were waiting for all the players to come out, and out they came one by one, got into their cars and drove off, and Matthew Debuchy came out quite late, and he had his little trolley case with him, and he was still standing to the corner, and I went up to him and said, Matthew, what's going on? And he said, he didn't really say much, he had his phone, and the lady came out and
said, say, aren't you FK?
I wish.
He goes, hey, that's old chocolate bollocks on the podcast.
Yeah, Asian sensation, you. But basically he was waiting for a cab, and up rolls this 52 plate Renault Espace, maroon coloured, Asian driver, the Asian driver, because that made me laugh because he had no idea where he was. And so Debuchy's he's put his face in his hands, and he sort of walked off on his own into the cab, and the drivers driven off, and all these other Arsenal players sort of waving at Debuchy from their Range Rovers and their BMWs, and it just made me smile. So
great story.
So he's obviously not settled in just yet, but I think I agree with everything that everyone said. It'd just be a decent right back.
And we must not just talk about the ins, but the outs too. Another player that we've debated long and hard about on this show is Carl Jenkinson. He got a loan move to West Ham. Danny, how do you think that that's going to benefit him in the long run?
Don't you read the little messages at the bottom, Mr. Gimli?
No,
Raj has had his hand up for 5 minutes. He either needs a wee-wee or he wants to ask a question about Sanogo. Which one is it, Raj?
Needed number 2.
Oh, no.
I did have a question, actually.
Go on, then.
More pointed towards Geoff and FK, but obviously you guys can reply as well. But we've all had our own kind of opinions on Sanogo before last weekend. Now, he scored 4 goals, which is great for the lad. My opinion wasn't that great about him before the last weekend, and it hasn't really changed that much since then. But what about you two, FK and Geoff?
Well, I think Yeah, well, for me, what's really interesting is his physical development. I think Wenger sent him away on this 6-month rehab strength building program, and actually in the cameo roles that he played against Liverpool and Bayern Munich last season, and don't forget, he almost changed the semi-final when he came on as a bit of an outlet. He was another option up front. I think it's way too early, Raj, to kind of either say he's going to make it or he won't make it. But what the boy does deserve is a chance, and of the little that I've seen of him, it's always difficult for a player to come on and just turn it on as if he's been playing for weeks on end. I think he's a young boy. He's got a lot of potential. He doesn't seem clinical. That would be a worry for me, because he has missed quite a few chances in games and friendlies. But, the boy's young, and as I don't think it does him any harm to have him on the bench, make a few cameo roles, play in a few cup games. So I think this season will be quite important for him. I think the other thing, though, Raj, is the one thing that does upset me a little bit is that if he's in the squad, I'd like to see Chuba Akpom given a chance, because he looks quite explosive, particularly at reserve and youth level. And I think by having Sonogo in the squad, that might mean that Akpom goes on loan, or maybe he's even sold at some point. I don't even know. So, but for me, he deserves a chance. Jeff, what do you think?
Oh, he's just same as what you said, really. FK, it's difficult with him, is it? Like you say, he's very young. He's so raw. He looks a bit cumbersome sometimes, but Wenger's got a little bit of faith in him. He sees something in him. I can't really see it at the moment. Don't get me wrong. He did well when he come on in the semi-final and the cup final, I think, wasn't it? So what he does he's got that. He gives that strength up top, and he can hold the ball up a little bit. He's got some nice touches, but he's got a lot to do yet. And you know what? If there was another centre forward out there that could be purchased by Arsenal at the moment, I think he'd go and spend it, and Sonogo would be demoted, so to speak, and he wouldn't get much game time. But he needs games, really. He needs to play football matches, and I'm not sure that he's going to get that many games at Arsenal. I really don't.
Loic Remy, Geoff.
Well,
that's the name for you.
My only concern is that Wenger's obviously had a look at him for a number of years. He's had 4 or 5 chances to buy him. Why hasn't he bought him? There must be a reason. Something. It's got to be something, really.
Was it ever established why the move to Liverpool didn't go through?
No idea. It's surrounded in mystery, that, isn't it?
He's had a heart problem. He failed it on a heart. I was talking to someone on Twitter about it, and they said that's the 3rd medical he's failed now with different clubs due to a heart condition.
Redknapp came out, Danny, and said he's never failed a medical before in his life. So who do you believe?
Exactly.
I believe Harry.
Or as Liverpool are going to be referred to on this show for the rest of the season, Liverhampton.
Gimli, you going to tell people about your Harry Redknapp tattoo that you're going to have done?
No. It's in a very personal place.
It comes with 3 wrinkles, that's all we're going to say. You had to pull it taut as they're drawing his face on. What were you asking me about Jenkinson?
No, I was going to say let's talk about the plums, but to go back to answer Raj's question just quickly. I do think Sonogo he's showing little glimpses of the talent that he could be. However, for me, the thing that's holding him back at the moment is his decision making. I think there was a few times over the games that he could have had a shot at goal, yet he chose to square it. I think there was one particular time against Benfica when, maybe someone with a striking instinct would have taken that on his right peg and curled it in, whereas he squared it to Aaron Ramsey and the move broke down. But so, for me, I think it's his decision making. But to go back again, Kyle Jenkinson, it's not just about the ins, it's also about the outs. So what do we make of Kyle Jenkinson's move to West Ham, and what do we think that he can get from that move?
You on about me?
Yes.
I'm just gutted because he was next in the long line of Arsenal, England international right backs. He's right up there with Dixon and Anderson for me as a future world legend. I know people give old Jenks a lot of grief, and I wish him good luck, and I hope he comes back to the club a stronger, a better player. But Bellerin showed at the weekend that he is really something to behold in the future. I don't know why I said behold. He's something to look forward to for the future. I think Jenkinson may well find his level now. A half-decent mid-table Premier League team is maybe where he not. So I don't want to say he belongs because he's an Arsenal fan. I'd like to see him there, and I like to see him play. But I think he used to be more at home with a mid-table Premier League team. And I think he'll do good at West Ham. I mean, Allardyce likes to play attacking, maybe a bit-ish long ball football. So you might go games without really seeing the ball, but with Carroll playing, and didn't someone say recently that Carroll was the worst signing the club had ever made? One of the owners or the owner's son or something like that. I think they're a club in turmoil. Someone on the radio today was saying that already Allardyce is the favourite in the bookies for the manager to get the sack first. So I think it's going to be a bit of a hard time for him going there. But at right back, most decent players can go to a club, play at right back, and be quite anonymous, but yet do your job. So I think he'll do well there. Good luck to the boy.
Newcastle must have pissed themselves when West Ham came to them with 35 million for Carroll. All right, Pet, they've put in a bid for our Carroll.
15 million.
Who saw the picture of him, his announcement picture, when he signed up? I've never seen a more sad person in my life.
Jenkinson.
Jenkinson's picture was just so sad.
If you hear at the moment, listen quietly. You can hear FK with his tears. He'd run out of Cesc tears, and now he's got Jenkinson tears. Like me, we've got a little bit of love for the boy, haven't we, FK?
Yeah, look, the thing about Jenko is that he's one of us. And what I mean by that is he's always dreamt of playing for Arsenal, just like I'm sure many of us have, and many of us still probably do.
I still do.
And he's lived the dream. All right, he didn't hit the heights. For me, I think there's absolutely no issue with him going on loan. Let him play 40 games. Let him improve as a player. And, if he comes back next summer and he's improved and he's got a lot of game time and confidence under his belt, then you never know. He might be back in the pecking order ahead of Bellerin. But I think that's one of the reasons maybe why Wenger's gone out and bought Debussy at 29, because he knows that in 3 years' time, one of the two are going to come good. So I've got no problem with it. I would have been a bit disappointed, if I'm being brutally honest, if Jenkinson had been sold, because from the transformation, Wenger got him an England cap, so there's something there. He's had some good.
For us. You're not shit if you play 57, are you?
Well, no. He's had some good games, and equally he's had some scary moments, and he's nowhere near the finished article. So a loan move to West Ham in the Premier League is a very wise move, and let's see what he comes back with. So I don't want to say anything now. Let's reserve judgment.
And before we go to Raj, who's got a question for you, FK. Geoff, if we could just get your final thoughts.
On Jinx.
Yes, please.
I think it'd be a fantastic move for him. He's going to do a lot of defending at West Ham, that's for sure. Right? So, listen, he needs to go away and play football. He's another one. He's got to go. He's a good player. You can see he's got an England cap. Like you say, he's played 57 times for Arsenal. You can't be a mug. Arsenal are not that team now that you can come in and learn on the job. I know you can say the same about Chambers, but I honestly do think Chambers is ready. Like Raj said, I think he's ready. I think he's a potential for us. Jenks, he came in, he was okay at first, he looked fantastic, then he's realised, fuck me, I'm at Arsenal, and he's got caught, he's scared now when he gets the ball. That's because he's not playing regularly. He'll go away, he'll play plenty of football, and we'll find out whether he's good enough to play for Arsenal whilst he's at West Ham, I think. He's got his great ability going forward, he's got a great cross, he's got plenty of pace, great athleticism, but can he defend? I don't know. It's a question mark.
We're going to find out.
The only way to find out is to play the man, the kid. We can't do that for Arsenal because it'll fuck us up,
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Geoff. Raj?
Well, we've talked about kind of transfers coming into the club, but we haven't talked about one particular transfer which could have come to us, but actually ended up with Cesc going to Chelsea. And I'm trying to keep a straight face, but I just want to ask FK whether he actually cried the day Cesc signed for Chelsea.
I tell you what, Raj, great question, man. I'm surprised I haven't been mocked about it all summer, but I'll be honest with you. I really wanted Cesc to come, no doubt about it, because I think, as a fan, you take a liking to a player for a variety of reasons. You either, think he's a great player, you think he did really well for the club, you fancy him, this, that, and the other. For me, it was all of the above. I think he was a great player for us. He is just such a talented player, and I always had this fantasy that he'd come back. But for Arsene Wenger to say no, and then for Arsene Wenger to put out the signings that he has, and I'm still confident he'll go out and get maybe, one or two more before August. I have no problem with that because he's addressed the issues that we've got. I'll tell you when I will cry. When he scores the winner against us and hugs Mourinho on the touchline, that will break me, and I'm sure it'll break a lot of people. That's when I'll probably cry. Because, look, the reality is, he turned Adebayor into a 30-goal plus a season man, and now he's playing behind the likes of Costa and Drogba and even Torres, and he's playing alongside some incredible players, and it's going to be horrible watching that. To see him back at Chelsea under that man as well, Mourinho, he's essentially going to beat Wenger with his own prodigy, and it leaves a bad taste in the mouth. But hopefully we won't have to worry about it, Raj, because hopefully he's building a team that are going to compete for the title.
You know what will be interesting to see if he plays him every week, because where's he going to play him with all them other players? He's got a lot of midfield players at Chelsea.
I mean, Geoff, you know he will. He'll play alongside Matic, and then he'll have Hazard, Oscar, and Schürrle ahead of him, and it's a brilliant team they've got. They've got a great squad, and for me, as things stand right now, with the manager they've got, the know-how that he has, and as much as it hates me to say, I think they're probably out there as favourites for the title.
FK,
Yeah,
quick question for you, and still sticking with the Fabregas stuff, and I'm not taking the mickey, I promise. But what would you have preferred, Ozil and Fabregas, or Ozil and Sanchez?
Ooh, well, we needed an outlet. That's where we went wrong last year. When Walcott got injured, I knew the day I remember standing at the bus stop coming home from work thinking, fuck, Walcott's out, that's it. I knew the title was done. So for me, it was really important when I got a centre forward. Not going to lie though, I mean, how good would it have been to see Ozil and Cesc in the middle? I mean, that just would have been, it would have been incredible, Gim. There's not one Arsenal fan. Forget the history, forget the fact he went on strike and all that kind of stuff. And believe me, it's been very easy for me to get over him. But I can't sit here and say I wouldn't have liked to have seen Cesc back at Arsenal. He was a brilliant player for us. But I'm happy the way that Arsenal's gone out. And let me tell you something else. With my final bit on this. I mean, Arsene Wenger doesn't turn down bargains like Vela. He doesn't turn down the opportunity to bring back someone like Cesc when you've got loads of money in the bank, unless you've got something planned up your sleeve. And, you know, for me, he's done really great buying in the players that he's got. He's just got to go out there and get those one or two more, which I firmly believe he will. Geoff's given us the right noises. The journalists are saying the right things. If Wenger goes out and gets a central midfielder and possibly a forward or an attacker or some sort of player just to bulk up the numbers, we will fly next season and we'll forget about Cesc very, very quickly.
We'll move on from that then, and one last question before we go to Geoff to see if he has any nuggets of information for us. Of course, we all know that Vermaelen is on his way out of the club, and reports tonight are saying that a possible deal with Barcelona might be not too far away. When he does eventually leave, does this leave us defensively weak? I mean, what can we see happening with this one, Geoff?
Oh, you know, we might as well let him go. I think he's been a liability for Arsenal after game 6 or 7, something like that. Honestly, I don't rate him. He's never a centre half. I just can't see it. And if you can draw £10 million from him, I think that is an absolute miracle. I'd prefer to sell him abroad. Because like FK said, it's, you know, I don't want them. They're coming back and they generally bite you on the arse, don't they? Score a goal against you or something like that. You know, could see that happening. But if he goes to Manchester United, it'll be a godsend as well because he is so bad. I really don't rate him, and I think he's all over the place.
So where did the decline come, do you think, Raj? Because in his first 2 seasons, everybody was raving about him. I mean, everybody's been there. You've seen the Verminator banners, you know, pictures of him just staring people down like he wanted to kill them. He was known as a brick shithouse, basically. So what's changed in that time that now he's not rated at all by the Arsenal fans?
I mean, I love him. And when he first started him, he was scoring goals as well. I think he was a leading scorer for about 3 months or something. I'm not too sure where the decline started. I know Geoff or FK could tell me whether he got injured or something, but there has been a decline. And if we get 10, 15 million pounds, I think Man United might even offer 15 million pounds. But we should take it. But I do wonder why these clubs are offering so much money for a player that we don't rate.
It was about £5 million. It was rumoured to be going for at Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, yes, indeed. Can you either Geoff or FK answer Raj's question?
Well, I think that sorry, I beg your pardon. United and Barcelona could do with a centre half that they can fit in there straight away, and so they think they could do a job. I don't see it. I really don't. He might get away with it in Spain. They get a little bit more time on the ball, and he can get the ball down and play. I don't think he's too bad on the ball, but his positional sense, he gets dragged out of position all over the place. He's not that good in the air. There's a lot of faults with the lad, honestly.
Do you think we need to replace him though, or will Chambers take that role?
No, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll have it covered, to be honest with you. But you know what? Wenger, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes and replaces him late if he does go to United or Barcelona. But we're not that club anymore that we're desperate. We can just hang on to him. It ain't for the sake of 10 or 15 million pound. Before it was different. We couldn't spurn a 10 or 15 million pound, but now we can. We could maybe keep him and he'll stay and he'll be a backup for us. Or if they want to spend the money, spend the money. 10 or 15 million pound, you can have him.
So, no, go on, FK.
No. Look, I'll tell you where I stand on Vermaelen. I think, Geoff, I've got to disagree with you with respect. I don't think he's as bad as you make out. I mean, yeah, he's not a great defender, but he's all right. I mean, as far as backup defenders go in the Premier League, it'd be hard pushed to find a better third centre back. I would hate to sell him to Man United not because he's a great player and he's going to go there and completely transform the club, but because it's about time we told a rival club just to do one, and ultimately, whether he goes and we replace him or not, that's my biggest fear, Raj, that we don't replace him. And I'll tell you why it's important to replace him, because last season we got very, very lucky with Koscielny and Mertesacker not picking up injuries. And the thing about Koscielny, you know what Koscielny's like. Great defender. He's got a red card in him. For me, Chambers is good. He's promising. He's assured. He's calm, but he's one for the future. I think with Vermaelen, because of the professional that he is, and he's not given club captaincy because he's got a tendency to rant or to moan about stuff. I think we could get away with keeping him for a year, and if we lose him on a free, so be it. But look at the defence. You've got Monreal and Gibbs as left backs. You've got Debussy and Bellerin as right backs. You've got 4 decent centre backs in Koscielny, Mertesacker, Vermaelen, and Chambers. For me, that there is title winning depth. And whether he plays a game or not, it doesn't matter. Having that backup, having him around the club where he knows the system, he's familiar with the players. Let's not rock the boat. If we have to sell him, force him to go abroad. And if we do sell him, you've got to buy.
Gim, who would you have as captain? Because Vermaelen's our captain, Arteta's vice captain. Do you pick a new captain and new vice captain? What do you do?
See, this is funny. This is a question I asked from my Twitter account earlier today, and I was absolutely inundated with people tweeting me. And the general consensus actually said that they would have gone for Mertesacker.
Yeah,
I chucked it out there. What about Ramsey?
No, too young.
And a lot of people said, as vice, yes, but at the moment, probably not, on the back of only one good season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think genuinely, I'd have to agree with the majority of the people that tweeted me. I'll probably go Mertesacker at this moment in time.
Anyway, I'd go Mertesacker, and I'd probably have a bit of a cheeky one and go Warshek as vice captain, because he's only 24. Having Espino at the club may have upset him a little bit, but I think making him vice captain may spur him on a little bit, and he could have another decade at the club. And I remember having Seaman as captain. I thought he was quite good back in the day. Usually I think centre backs or central midfielders should be captain, but yeah, Mertesacker for me. Geoff?
I've got no information on it. I haven't asked the question, but I think if we do lose Vermaelen, I think Arteta will be club captain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't regularly play, what would be the point of that?
Don't know that. You don't know. He's definitely going to be in the squad, isn't he? That's for sure.
Well, yeah, he will be in the squad, yeah, but he won't be out on the pitch, and I think that's what was a bit problematic last season, was our captain Vermaelen very rarely played. And Arteta isn't...
It wasn't a huge problem, though, Danny, was it? I mean...
Oh, no, because when Chesney was out there shouting at everybody, so it makes no difference. It's more of an honour nowadays than it is of actual making any real difference.
Mm.
I think Arteta deserves it. He's the elder statesman.
Would be the fair thing to do, you're right.
Plays in the right position, in the middle of the pitch, so to speak. I think he's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How about you, Raj? Oh, we haven't asked Raj, have we? Or Raj probably doesn't care, do you, Raj?
No, Arteta, Mertesacker, I'm not really fussed.
There's a surprise.
I'd go for Mert because he just really impressed me. And I don't know how much time that Arteta will have in the middle of the pitch this year, but my vote would be for Mertesacker. But if Arteta gets it, then good on him, and hopefully he'll carry the torch for us next season.
I think with Mertesacker as well, I think he's probably the closest we've had to an Adams.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Even run the same.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's kind of like history repeating itself. Give him the captaincy and see where we go with it. I think it's definitely worth a gamble. It's not even a gamble, is it? Let's be honest. But we'll go to Geoff, and we'll end this segment by asking you, Geoff, please give us some information. Is there anyone coming?
I think there's going to be 2 in, if I'm being honest with you. Obviously, everyone's heard the reports about Carvalho and Khedira. I've already mentioned about I think they're going to get one of 3 choices in defensive centre midfield. If a striker comes to light, I think he'll buy him. I mean, it's going to be a big 2 weeks at the end of the season. I think there might be at least one shot coming along.
Can you see it going down to the wire?
Yeah, I can. I really can. I think it could be something like an Ozil. Again, it's a trigger. I see. Benzema's just signed a new contract at Real Madrid, so maybe that puts him out of action. But you never know, do you? Falcao, it looks like he's moving to Real Madrid, so how's Benzema going to feel about that? It's like the domino effect. We might see another domino happening.
Well, I think all I need to know, Geoff, is do we bother arranging a transfer deadline day podcast? That's all I need to know.
I think you do, Danny, because I think there might be a certain player at Dortmund who might be up for grabs. But there we go.
Roycey boy.
Oh, get the wet wipes.
Oh, hello.
The reason I say that is not because I'm ITK at all, because I don't want to be subject to Raj's purge, but I would say that, look, if there's a release clause out there genuinely at 25, 35 million euros, whatever it is, Bayern Munich are going to activate that next summer. So if there is any chance that he is available and Wenger has cash, and Wenger's been all over him, you know he would be all over him, there could be a last-minute scramble for him, and he would just be the icing on the cake, so you just never know.
Well, there were reports that we were heavily linked with him, and Arsene Wenger was looking at him before the World Cup, but unfortunately his injury put pay to that. But oh God,
I think that clause didn't kick in until after the World Cup.
Well, the clause doesn't actually kick in until next summer. But what I'm trying to say is that if Bayern Munich know as soon as that clause is available, they'll go in for him, like they did with Lewandowski, like they did with Götze. And what I'm trying to say is that if an English club, let's say, who are overseas to Dortmund, go in with a silly offer this summer, they'd probably prefer to sell him overseas and for a bit more money. So I'm not suggesting for 1 minute get your money on it, but if there was to be an outside chance of something happening, maybe I'm just fantasising getting carried away, but what a great player he'd be.
It would be nice. Would you have him over someone if we had to spend the money? Would you rather have him than a Khedira or a Schneiderlin or a
No, you've got to
address your priorities.
Yeah. But money wise, you ain't going to get one of those two and a Royce.
We could win the league with a midfielder.
If we get Carvalho, and I said I don't watch loads of football, but I have watched Portuguese football, and I did happen upon him a while ago. He is an absolute monster. He's an absolute monster, and
Vieira-esque.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, absolutely.
That's what we need. We need
a
Vieira.
Is it true he's only on £5,000 a month?
Yes.
£4,129, I heard.
Geez, you're on more than that, FK.
Hey,
you upped it.
That certainly is. But, if that's the case,
that's nothing.
Right up Wenger's street.
Offer him $6,000 a week, he'll bloody get the bus over.
$6,000 a week.
People looking at it, I know. Is it Messi Minutes, the Twitter account?
Oh, they're good.
They tweeted all about his contractual situation, and it's quite a messy situation, isn't it? Because he was bought by somebody else, and they still part own him, but their business is going down, so they're looking to strip some assets. And of course, 20 million when you're going under is a nice healthy amount of money. I think that's an interesting one, and I really do think that's got the legs. But we will end that there. Geoff, you are going to give us some more transfer info, aren't you, as and when it comes, and when you're on the podcast?
Yeah, if it comes to light, mate, I'll be on. Don't worry about that.
Definitely so, and it looks like you guys have all got a transfer deadline day special to look forward to in a few weeks' time. Right then, we're going to end the show now by talking about the Community Shield and the game against Man City. Who can we see playing and what formation do we think he'll use? And I will do this quickly as we are running out of time. So I'll go to Danny. What formation do you think he's used, and what players do you think he might use?
Well, I think in the game against Monaco has probably looked to be the usual team that he's going to play from some of the back is going to be Chesney and goal, Debuchy, Koscielny, Mertesacker. Left back, it's probably going to be Gibbs. But are they allowed to do 3 subs or infinite subs at the Charity Shield? I think that will make a difference. If they can do
just 3, I think.
It's just 3 subs.
Oh dear. Well, I think it's going to be. Will the Germans be back? I don't think they'll be playing, will they? They're not back till the second game of the season.
They're not back until after Palace.
Okay, so that makes it a lot easier because that's those 3 missing. But it's going to be the usual back ones. Apart from Mertesacker, so it's probably going to be Chambers because he played at the back at the weekend. Be another good chance to see him play there. In the central midfield is probably going to be Ramsey and then either Arteta or Wilshere. I see Wilshere got a booking in the game against Monaco. And then I think the interesting bit is where Sanchez plays, where Giroud plays, and how well Cazorla does, because there's been so many rumours of Cazorla going, but I think you can't really predict what it's going to be, whether he takes it as a friendly, like he says he's going to, or whether he takes it serious, like I would, and I'd really want to go out there, and I really want to see them fingers. No, that's the wrong show, isn't it?
Yes, that's Shooting Stars.
For Dove from Above.
Speaking of which, we've got George Dawes from Shooting Stars coming on the show this season.
Hopefully.
That's one to look out for. See, that was a sneaky plug from you. I like that.
Hey, the Dove from Above. That was my favourite bit. Don't forget, we've got to do the quiz bit at the end of this.
Yes, not a problem.
Okay.
Over to Geoff. Geoff, can you see us playing 4-4-2 against Man City? What players can you see playing?
No, I think he'll go strong. He'll set up as we normally set up. To be honest with you, I think Chambers will play. I think Debuchy will play. Like I say, I think he'll have a right go with a strong team. You'll see most of the players that's going to start the week after against Crystal Palace, I think.
Definitely. And same question to you, FK?
First and foremost, not really hugely fussed about winning it or not, but although I think if we do win it, there's a greater psychological impact on winning it rather than losing. I don't think the players will be too bothered. In terms of team, no German boys. Danny's probably spot on. Strong team like Monaco. Sanchez will probably start because I don't think Giroud is anywhere near ready. Theo's certainly nowhere near the squad yet. He's doing weights and light running and stuff, but he'll be expected sort of September time. But you know what? I'm going to Wembley. You can't, as an Arsenal fan, going to Wembley, you can't beat that. So it'll be a great day out. Hopefully we win it and we hit the ground running for Palace.
Definitely. And final thought from you, Raj?
Even though he just said in the group thing
Doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Fine. I don't read it.
You're the one who's in charge. You're meant to bloody read it.
I'm sat here with notes trying to just guide you along. Just tap it in.
You're not picking bananas with your feet.
All right, then. I will have some predictions off you now, then. Hairy Man, I'm going to go with you first.
I think it's going to be 3-2. It's going to be a ding-dong of a slobber knocker.
And your scorer? Your first scorer?
I'm going to go Sonogo goals.
Oh, Sonogo. And Raj?
We'll lose 2-1.
Oh, Jesus. Start at the season the way we mean to continue, Raj.
And your
I want to beat Geoff this season.
Oh, yeah. That's not going to happen.
Scorer?
Yeah.
I think Giroud will score. I think he'll start the game on Sunday.
Fantastic. FK next?
I will go with 2-1 Arsenal, Ramsey.
Okay. I had that as well. You
Sorry.
bastard.
This happens so much last season. Why don't you go first?
To me, and
Why don't you go first?
I would have beaten you.
You're the host. You can do what you want. Just drop your balls and go first.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Why don't you do that?
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
2-2 draw. Arsenal win on penalties.
Will the goalkeepers be taking them like Seaman did back in the day?
Yeah. Blindfold. I think Sanchez will get the first goal.
I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal, Ramsey.
Can I ask a question? Does anyone ever predict a defeat for the Arsenal? I know we're all Arsenal fans.
Yeah,
do we?
Me and Danny got we predicted the defeat against Chelsea last year. Got absolutely slated for it from Gav and all the rest of them.
Then Gav predicted a few losses and got a few points afterwards.
Points are more important than friends, Danny.
Does this go towards the predictions?
Oh, certainly
yes,
does.
It does.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I might have to revise that then.
Secret text message, Geoff. Not so good as a wink, my old fruit.
You got a trophy to try and maintain, Geoff.
Where is it? I've not seen the trophy.
I've got to go to the fishing shop in Godmanchester because I drove past the other day and they do trophies. So it might be a bit fishy, but you're going to get one. You will definitely get one. We want a picture of you with a balaclava on wearing it.
That's
Lovely
it.
stuff. And the last bit of the show is shout-outs. FK, I'm going to go to you first because I know you need to rush off.
I had the fortune of spending the day with Dave Seeger today. Many of you will follow Dave on Twitter. He is a brilliant Arsenal fan, knows the club. He's got a great book that's coming out in October, which I'm sure we'll plug on the pod at some point.
He's coming on.
Yeah, he is coming on. Doesn't do podcasts, but he's coming on especially for that. If you want to get involved with him, he is at GoonerDave66. Not that he looks however old that makes him, 47, 48.
Thank you, FK. Raj, next.
I'm going to shout out to one of our own podcast members at AFC Freddy 8.
Carpenter out.
Who is, yes, and that's the only reason I'm doing it, because I think he is a shit manager of the Barbican. Is it the Barbican Pirates?
Barbican Pirates, yeah.
Who I have been sponsoring, and I've got suspicion that they've used the sponsorship money to buy pizzas and nothing else.
And you're a majority shareholder, Raj. Fuck him off.
I know, and basically I'm going to start the hashtag Chris out, basically, so he's gone.
That's Chris with a K, by the way.
His team is the Barbican Pirates, the Plymouth and West Devon Nova Homes League Division 3. Pre-season, lost 4-0, lost 5-1, lost 6-3. What do we say to that, Raj?
Rubbish. Shit.
Carpenter out.
Yeah, Carpenter
Stokes
out.
in. Get Stokes in.
Oh, Danny, next.
Okay, right, this is someone who bugs me on Twitter on a regular basis, and he knows, I reckon he's been and done a deed poll and changed his bloody name. He's going in to have an operation. He is at AAQIBALYAS, and I've been informed by Raj that is Aqib Alias. There you go, you made up bloody name. Good luck, mate, with your operation. I think he's having it on the 7th, which I think is today. So hopefully you'll get to hear this. If you don't get to hear this, I'll see you in about 100 years.
And Geoff?
Yeah, I'm going to try and make it my business to at least, because you know me, I normally just decline it, don't I? But I'm going to try and pull one out every single week if we can. And I'm going to go for this one. She's relatively new on Twitter. What I mean, she might be 6 months or 8 months new on Twitter, and it's AFC Alley. So it's AFC ALLY. Really got good opinions. Very, very knowledgeable about the game as well, and have a chat with her. She's really, really, really good.
Definitely so. And we'll just go over to Raj before we end quickly. You've got news on one of our up-and-coming podcasts, haven't you, Raj?
Yeah, next week I think we're going to carry on with our podcast, and we've got Tim Payton on, who I know creates a lot of...
Boo Tim.
I know, don't. He's all right.
I like him.
I like him.
We're going to have a little segment, I think, about fanshare and how it's collapsed, and what the repercussions are for AST and for those members who invested nearly £2 million into the scheme. And he's going to give us a lowdown on that, so it should be quite interesting.
And he'll be doing it live from his brand new Learjet.
Yes, exactly.
Before we go over to you, Danny, I forgot my shout-out in this one I have to do. It's at James Farley 2, who successfully guessed the swear word that I was thinking of earlier. Only downside is that I got called a cunt over 50 times in less than 10 minutes. It's like living an hour in your shoes, Danny. So over to you before we go for one last piece of information.
I'm not the one who has a count of the C words I share with my loved ones, am I? You horrible little man.
She's winning 12-9.
And she means every one of them.
Over a 2-year period, yes, she has.
Right, obviously we were talking earlier, and anybody out there who has any Arsenal stuff, any of the artwork you do, anything that we can help you with, we'll always retweet it. And we got in contact with the people that Paul Vasson, he was an Arsenal footballer, and there's someone's wrote a book about him, and we said, would you like to do anything? They said, well, we'll give you a couple of books to give away as to the listeners. And I said, well, tell us a bit about the book. So they've sent us an email with this bit that I'm going to read out, and then a question, and then we're going to give away 2 books, and then you just email us with the answer and send the email to Bergkamp Wonderland at gmail.com, and then I can tell by the time that it arrives who were the first 2 that I got. So this is going to take about maybe a minute to read. 13 years ago tomorrow, which will be the 8th of August, former Arsenal footballer Paul Vasson died alone of prescription drug overdose in the bathroom of his Bristol flat. he was only 39 years old. Friday's anniversary will be marked by the publication of his biography, Stuck in a Moment, The Ballad of Paul Vasson. A book launch at the Emirates Stadium will be hosted jointly by the AISA and the publisher GCR Books and attended by Graham Ricks, Brian Talbot, Paul Davis, Steve Walford, Roger Thompson and the book's author Stuart Taylor will also be there, as will Paul Vasson's parents, Leon and Maureen, actor Tom Watt, who also wrote a very, very good book called was it The End? The Clock End? Up on the North Bank? It's one of those two. Very big red book, lovely book. And he'll be doing the emceeing for the evening. For those of you that are too young to remember him, Paul Vasson played for Arsenal in the late 1970s and early 1980s and rose to overnight stardom on the 23rd of April 1980 when he headed the winning goal in the semi-final of the European Cup Winners' Cup, which is the competition you got in by winning the FA Cup, which is no longer around, against Juventus in Turin. It was to be the high point of Paul's career. A knee injury sustained in a reserve team match against Tottenham would eventually force Paul to quit Arsenal and professional football at the age of only 21. Unable to cope with his life without football, Paul drifted from job to job and into a life of drug addiction and from one petty crime to another in order to fund his habit. Paul battled with his addiction for many years, but on the 8th of August 2001, it was a battle he would finally lose. And I was just looking at his stats, and he played I think it's 32 games and scored 6 goals. And I'm not really old enough to remember him, but I think Geoff said you remembered him a little bit, and so did you, Raj.
Yeah, I was at that game in Turin, funny enough.
Were you?
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it was just. I mean, we wasn't favoured for it. I can't remember now a lot about it. Was it a second leg? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Might have been, yeah.
And Juventus was a top team at the time. I think they'd previously been European Cup winners, you know. And I think they was all over us, but we went and nicked a goal. We went up there and nicked a goal. It was one of them games, you know. But legendary status down to that alone, you know, just winning out against Juve for sure.
Do you remember anything about him, Raj?
Vaguely, but I mean, the things I remember about it, he was a Gillingham boy, and since I was brought up near that area, so he kind of remains in my heart. But it was a very sad story that you just said. So
I'm just looking at it.
Sorry, go on.
Also, just looking at things, we drew the first game at Arsenal 1-1, and the second game was away at Juventus, and we won it 1-0. And like Pat Jennings, Pat Rice, Willie Young, O'Leary, Price, Ricks, who's going to be there, he played that night, John Devine, Liam Brady, Brian Talbot, who's going to be there on tomorrow, Frank Stapleton, Alan Sunderland, and Paul Vasson come on for David Price and scored the goal, and I think we ended up getting through to the final, and then we lost the final on penalties, from the little I can remember. Anyway, so the people who wrote the book, publishing the book, have been very kind enough to give us 2 copies we're going to give away. So the question is, what shirt number did Paul Vasson wear when he scored against Juventus in April 1980? Right, so if you send your answer with your name and address along to Bergkamp Wonderland at gmail.co.uk. Was it UK or was it .com, Gim?
It's .com.
.com. Don't send it to the UK because you won't bloody win. Send it to .com. And then the first 2 that I get with the right shirt number, just put the shirt number, and then we'll give your details to the people who are writing the book, and then they will send you a book, and we might even see if they'll sign it for you, but they might not, I don't know. And they didn't even give me one, and I like books, they're tasty.
I know. I did honestly think that you were actually going to read it and then give it out as a competition prize. I think you've missed a trick there. But we do have another competition.
Oh, you didn't think of that?
No, I know. We
no.
do have another competition prize next week. Details of that are going to be on the Twitter account at some point throughout the week. Again, it's going to be another question like this. Email us the answer with your name and your details. And I know it's for some Arsenal art, and it's rather a tasty little piece itself, so that's one to look out for. All that's left is to thank all the boys that have joined me and Danny tonight, so thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I should do FK. Cheers.
Cheers, Keith.
Cheers. All right, love. For Shag.
So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and it's great to be back. Good night.
No, cheeky bitches, monkeys, in it.
Safe.